His Excellency would like to ask if any of the residential school survivors would like to take this opportunity to be heard by His Holiness.
My mother would like to speak in her language.
Aileen Spears, Nisikasun, Nya Oste, Cree Nation.
My name is Aileen Spears. I am from the Cree Nation in Manitoba, Canada.
When things are too good, I'm just scared that things will be taken away.
I want my children home where they should be.
It's the law, Matthew. You'd go to jail if you don't sign.
Marie, congratulations on the series. The film was terrific. What was the reasoning behind creating a series from it?
Well, originally it was supposed to be a 4-part miniseries, and then it became a 5-part miniseries. And then, to be honest, we were looking at ways to bridge the financing. It was suggested that we look to creating a feature plus a 5-part miniseries. So yeah, we're really hoping that, it has a wider audience internationally and, obviously in the States and Australia, New Zealand and places, obviously places that connect to that story in some ways through their own histories or places that are interested in different stories.
The opening sequence, the black and white with the settler fooling the Indigenous people, that was upsetting in the film. Somehow it is more upsetting now. And I'm wondering, for this scene and in general, did you edit more tightly or something? It was very intense.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, carved too much differently. I think when you look at the series, you'll see these openings will have kind of reenactments of our history, a point of view of that history. So maybe that's what it is. I mean, thematically, it's connected to what you're going to see in the episode. So maybe it's hitting a little harder because it's speaking to what you're experiencing.
Honestly, it floored me. And I had seen it, which is so strange. So well done. Has working on the series been, or the project in general, has it been difficult for you personally at all, aside from being a filmmaker?
I think it is difficult because it's a hard history and it's there's personal connections to it that make it real and in big ways, but also we've had conversations with other creatives that were involved in the making of it, and I feel for the most part relieved. I feel that there was a great sense of relief about being able to tell the story and being able to tell it in this way that we passionately believed we needed to. So
Grace Dove is a wonderful vessel for you because she has this incredible presence and stalwartness, which I guess Alina had to adopt given the hand that she'd been dealt as a child. How did you know that she'd be able to do it?
I think, obviously we're looking to partner with someone that had those kind of, like acting skills, just, pure talent and pure presence on screen. But also, as you can imagine, it also needed someone with a maturity and an ability to understand that, she plays Aline over, I don't know, 4 decades. So it's a real challenge, and a real challenge that she lived up to, and you can kind of feel it in her. If you know her a little bit, you can understand that kind of will, and also this kind of immense, what's the right word? There's a curiosity to creative people. Not everybody has it, but there's people that are, kind of driven to find out what's the core of this, how can I make this work? How can I be excellent? And I think that's, definitely who, you want to collaborate with, because it meant so much, obviously, to myself and everyone involved, but, also to, I believe, Grace, and other actors that joined us. It was a personal commitment to bring our skill to this story.
Think of the education they will receive. If it wasn't for the church, a residential school system would never exist.
We have 324 students that will keep them in a state of malnutrition.
And if you want to motivate the Indian, you must starve him.
Naturally, we're seeing a rise in sickness.
Be careful. You're gonna see things you never forget. You gotta keep it inside you.
You didn't think your master's escape would go unpunished.
I need your protection.
You're an Indian. I don't owe you anything.
You promised me that you won't look back. You are our tomorrow.
We're sending you to London, putting together a special operation.
The Germans haven't been able to crack our codes. In Cree, how did you keep your language? We've been training all our lives.
There is no way that we are going to give up when we are threatened with cultural genocide.
Mom. I looked up, because of the series, Duncan Campbell Scott, and from getting it from your script, I was just appalled. And John A. MacDonald, how is it that they have gone along without being outed for all these years?
As we saw in the news in the last couple of years, maybe it's been 3 years, but certainly there's been a turnaround and people re-looking at that history and exactly, what some of our leaders stood for. I guess, we assume certain things and then once you go into history, once you actually read it, and it's all there to be read, not all, but it's there if somebody wants to read it. It's kind of astounding, that you can't make up these words, you can't make up this kind of perspective and colonial aggression, really. I think our history is still fascinating, whether it's 100 years ago or yesterday. It's fascinating to relook at, because I think it has built our country, like, all countries are built from an idea. And for us to understand what that idea was when it came to Indigenous people in this country, you can kind of understand a lot of things,
As I was reading the history of Plymouth, the invasion by the Pilgrims and the Puritans, and it just really rang a bell. So that it was all over the world, so accepted for so long. And as you say, it looks like people are taking a really good look now in the past several years, led probably by Canada. So that's something to be very proud of. And your series certainly adds to that. And I'm wondering, your body of work that you envision for the future, will you keep making stories that bring all of this to light?
I think I've always been motivated by stories that, hopefully could create change. And I think that's been a constant, whether it was in theater or film or documentary. So I think that's something that gets me up, pretty early in the day and motivates me to get at it. But certainly there's so many people, doing all sorts of, stories, all sorts of whether it be comedy or whether it be, adventure or etc. And I think there's something kind of revolutionary about that also, to be able to evade a genre with another perspective. So, you never know.
Well, congratulations, Marie. What a great series, and what a wonderful thing to have in your resume. Just very helpful to a lot of people.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
You love what you taught them was an education in unrelenting cruelty.